You're watching Cartell TV and I'm Jenny. The 2021 update for the Mazda CX-9 isn't huge, but it is noteworthy.
First of all, it's one of the most popular models in its class, so every update has to bring something good to keep it at the top. Secondly, the car is almost 5 years old now, so it was due for a revamp. Lastly, Mazda have made some pretty big steps in the past few years, so we were wondering how many of those went into this facelift.
The CX-9 has always represented great value for money,
ticking all the main style, practicality and comfort boxes for a very specific niche of buyers, and all that for a more than reasonable amount.
So we thought, why not change the approach a bit? If we're talking about value for money and ticking all the right boxes, why not see if the lowest trim still ticks all those boxes? So that's why we opted to try out this 2021 CX-9 front-wheel drive Sport in the lowest trim level.
Not something any car enthusiast would really choose, but we thought we should answer the questions the buyers would like to know.
We put your needs first, rather than fine Napa leather and panoramic sunroofs. You can thank us later.
There are 6 trims to choose from, so there's a lot to lose in the entry level.
So let's see what's on offer in this entry-level CX-9.
I already said this design is 5 years old, so it does show some older features of the Mazda design direction.
But the new ones are basically just revamps of that same design style. So it's actually amazing that it still looks relevant even now.
Mazda hit the nail on the head with their design language, and they've been milking it ever since.
But we are getting to the point where all Mazdas just starting to look alike. I mean, personally, I'm getting a little bit bored. Even BT50 is following that same old design trend.
In this model, this translates to the iconic front dominated by the grille with chrome surrounds that make this CX-9 look lower and sportier than it actually is.
The headlights are a bit more modern and the bumper is perfect for a car like this.
It makes the car look modern and elegant without being too in your face. Perfect for most CX-9 buyers. It's no wonder it looks equally as nice on the Mazda 3 and the latest BT50.
The rest follows the same direction. Modern, recognizable, but not raising any eyebrows.
Once again, perfect for the people looking into a CX-9 or its competitors.
The powertrain is a bit of a mixed bag of feelings though.
It's a 2.5-litre inline-4 Skyactiv G turbo petrol. That's a mouthful, and it also gives 170 kilowatts and 420 newton meters from 2,000 revs. Official fuel consumption is 8.4 litres and about 9 for the all-wheel drive. It's matched to a 6-speed Skyactiv Drive automatic. What we got in our test is low double digits. It's difficult to get lower numbers in anything that's not a steady speed run on the motorway.
The engine seems okay, right? I mean, honestly, most people buying a CX-9 are probably using it for a family shuttle, so that's a good amount of power.
Or sporty at all. Fast enough, but there's not much more than that.
So what's the bad side? Well, if you want anything different, more efficiency, more power, a hybrid, you can't have it. This is the only engine paired with the only gearbox option. The only thing that you can choose is whether it pushes the front 2 wheels or all 4. Let's see how it actually feels to drive.
Naming an entry-level trim is not the easiest thing to do.
So it's basically the cheapest version of the car, and no, it doesn't have all the coolest features. But they did have to give it an enticing name.
But still be clear that it is not the top of the offering or anywhere near it.
It's cool how bottom trim levels get some pretty cool names in some markets like Ambition, Style or Luna.
Mazda decided to name its entry-level CX-9 Sport.
Yes, it does feel really good to drive. I can't deny that. But Sport, I mean, I just don't get it.
You see, the Sport is not really sporty.
It's not slow, don't get me wrong. And the driving dynamics are incredibly good for this segment, but it's definitely not sporty.
It's a large SUV with front-wheel drive and an inline-4 engine.
But there's actually some really great points when it comes to driving the CX-9. No, it's not sporty per se, but it's far better to drive than many of its competitors.
If you're looking for a vehicle within this part of the market that's okay to drive, the CX-9 is among the top choices.
The engine is punchy enough, the turbo kicks in smoothly, and the pickup is nice.
With only 6 gears, the gearbox tends to hold them a bit longer in performance conditions. But when you are up to speed and cruising comfortably, you won't mind the number of gears one bit.
Honestly, the engine is a really sound choice for this car.
This is a family car for people and those who want enough power to overtake and merge, but not violent acceleration or abrupt response.
For these conditions, the 2.5-litre is great, smooth and never really strained.
Torque delivery is great and it comes usefully early in the rev range, which makes a lot of difference in the way it drives.
I also really love how little it bends in corners. I mean, it is a large SUV, so there's a little bit of body roll, but compared to some other ones that I've driven, I mean, they feel like tugboats.
In this respect, it's both comfortable and fun to drive.
I mean, there's just a lot more handling confidence in the CX-9 than in many of the competitors. That G-vectoring of Mazda's strikes again, in a good way.
And that's on regular suspension setup. No fancy adaptive air suspension. Really well done. Even the entry-level trim enjoys the composed ride and the powertrain. So it's actually a really nice way to get some remarkable features of a much more expensive car and still save loads of money.
Now, what I would like, and not many people will care about it, is all-wheel drive.
This version is front-wheel drive, and I do realise most people will not really care about this, but I would like that steadiness of an all-wheel drive system.
Now, if you want one, it'll usually add about $4,000 to the same spec front-wheel drive version.
All the controls are at hand, the materials are pretty good, even in this trim, and fantastic higher up the trim ladder, and the fit and finish are top-notch. What did get updated is the infotainment screen. The screen is more than 50% larger than before, with a diagonal of 10.5 inches.
What am I talking about? This tiny thing? Yeah, well, that's not the one. You'll have to go up 2 trims for that one.
The trim above this one and under the one that has that screen has a 9-inch, and this one comes with this little 7-inch screen.
I already mentioned that we do miss out on some of the tech in the lower trims.
At least it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Bluetooth, digital radio, and some other goodies, so you get lots of functionality.
I also like this rotary physical control for the infotainment system. But as far as how easy it is to use with Apple CarPlay, for example, I mean, I have to scroll all the way through the menu to get to this extra menu button here. I mean, things like that are not very user-friendly and probably need to be improved.
Sure, it's not as cool as gesture controls, but it's actually easier.
With those things in mind, it still would be nice to be able to press this while you're driving. I mean, I guess it is a safety thing, but with the way this works, it would make it a lot easier.
I also have to point out the look of the steering wheel and the instrument cluster. They are very Mazda-like, which means clean, stylish, and easy to read.
Helps you feel like you're not driving a huge SUV.
The seats are very comfortable and covered in cloth in this trim, while higher trims get several levels of leather.
There are 6 or 7 of them in the CX-9, depending on your trim and preference.
The 6-seat configuration gives captain chairs in the second row, and it's reserved for the very top of the offer.
Of course, even this version gets the most valuable asset in the back seat, and that is space.
Legroom and headroom are ample even for adults, and 3 full-size people could easily fit. Not as comfortably as 2, of course, but definitely good enough.
The second row is also elevated for better visibility, and you get all the main storage features, and that includes cup holders in the armrest and air vents, and your own climate control, which is really nice.
Let's have a look at the third row. Kids will love it. It's super spacious with less support than up front, but it shouldn't be an issue, hopefully, for the kiddies.
Now back here is pretty decent space. I mean, the knee angle is not great for anyone taller. They're going to be a bit like that man in the automobile from The Simpsons. But you have got cup holders, which is nice. Yes, not bad.
Sure, it's not as comfortable as in the second row, but there is fine legroom and headroom, and even a hip angle is nice. That's not something that's very common in 3-row SUVs.
The boot is also fine.
With all the seats in use, you get 230 litres when packed to the roof, and with the third row folded, 810 litres.
With all the seats in use, there is still a decent amount of space here. I mean, it's not huge, but you could probably fit a suitcase and a few bags.
Safety is pretty good, even in the entry-level model. You get blind spot monitoring, driver attention alert, high beam control, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, radar cruise control with stop and go function, rear parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, reversing camera, smart brake support, smart city brake support, traffic sign recognition, electric parking brake with auto hold, ABS, EBD, dynamic stability control, emergency brake assist, forward obstruction warning, hill start assist, LED automatic headlights, rain sensors, auto dimming rearview mirror.
Once again, this is the entry trim, so it gets most of the perks, and that is quite remarkable.
But higher trims do add things like 360-degree camera, adaptive LED headlights, and front parking sensors.
So what's the verdict? Is the entry level good enough? Well, I'd definitely say yes.
Just some of the things you get include that amazing host of safety perks, the same gearbox and engine, great interior layout, fit and finish and space, nice overall design, one of the best drives in its class, and price range.
If you want more features,
leather seats, 360 camera, sunroof, more adjustments for the seats, and a better infotainment system. Drive-away pricing for this entry sport trim with front-wheel drive starts at $48,000. And if you want the top trim, a Zami, in all-wheel drive, you're looking at about $78,000.
you have to go up the ladder to a higher price point. But in terms of all the main features, I mean, even this entry level really has you covered. And I can't deny why the CX9 is so popular in Australia. Thanks again for watching Cartell TV. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel to support us, and don't forget to hit your notification button and follow us on social media. And we'll see you in the next review. Peace.